Hello, good evening. It's 5 p.m. Welcome to 505. Coming up tonight, economic and organized crime office intensifies the Ghana probe into former managing director of Tor Asante Berko's U.S. bribery conviction. Meanwhile, former power minister Dr. Kwabena Donko denies receiving money from convicted former Tor boss or playing a role in the alleged bribery scheme linked to the Aska Energy deal. Also coming up, the criminal trial for former finance minister Ken Offuat is expected to resume on Thursday, August 27, 2026, following a Supreme Court decision upholding the constitutional validity of the Office of the Special Prosecutor Act 2017. Also, MPP raises concerns over Cocoa Board bill, calls for broader consultation.
The New Patriotic Party respectfully makes the following demands. 1. We urge His Excellency the President to withdraw assent to the Ghana Cocoa Bill 2026 and return same to Parliament for broader stakeholder consultation.
Well, Pre-Tertiary Teachers Association of Ghana, PRETA, gives government a 2-week ultimatum to implement the 20% deprived area allowances for teachers as they threaten industrial strike.
We think that it is a stab in the back. And we are calling on His Excellency the President that he sees to it that by the end of this month, August, the deprived area allowance is implemented and the teachers that are qualified to move from Deputy Director to Director 2 and subsequently to Director 1 is also implemented.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Association of University Administrators says it will name and shame members who defy its directive to fully comply with an indefinite strike. We have these and more stories plus some interesting analysis to do. Stay with us. Well, live from our studios here at Digital address GL 0423598 North Laboni, third day work on class 91.3 FM in Accra, Rio's 11 Who FM 92.5, Hills 91.7 at Daklo, both in the Volta region, Max Empire 96.9 in the Upper East region, Dagon FM 102.5 in Tamale, Radio Park 96 in Spain. We're live on Facebook. Connect with us or join us with your thoughts, comments, and contributions with the hashtag 505, alternatively through our WhatsApp number 0500,000. 202. My name is Kwame Ocher Jr. It's time. It's 505. Welcome. Well, 505 is always brought to you by MTN Everywhere You Go, Electoral and Ghana Limited, and Review Scratch for Way. Now to the very first story. The Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO, has intensified investigations into the Ghanaian dimension of the bribery case involving a former Tema Oil Refining Managing Director Santi Kweku Berko following his conviction in the United States of America. Berko, a former Goldman Sachs investment banker, was convicted on August 6, 2026 by a federal jury in Brooklyn, New York on charges including conspiracy to violate the U.S. Foreign Corrupt Practice Act, violating the act, and conspiracy to commit money laundering. U.S. prosecutors established that Berko conspired to pay and paid more than $1 million in bribes between 2014 and 2015 to multiple Ghanaian officials in connection with the development and financing of power plants in Ghana involving Turkish energy company Aska Energy, Oritim AS, and Goldman Sachs. The office says asset tracking, the recovery, have now become a key component of its investigation as it seeks to determine whether public resources or other assets were acquired or dissipated through a suspected criminal conduct. In a statement issued today, August 10, 2026, Yoko said it had been working on the matter since last year after receiving a request from U.S. authorities for information on individuals in Ghana considered relevant to the investigation, including a former Minister of State and other public servants. My colleague Caleb Ahinakwa joins me in studio with more on this development story. Caleb, good to have you on 505. What is Yoko really seeking to do?
Well, so essentially, Yoko is targeting a financial trail, and as you rightly indicated, they have issued a statement, of which we'll be getting into the details shortly. Now, Yoko said its investigation will include examining transactions. That's the first thing it will do as it targets the financial trail. It will also examine beneficiaries. It will examine assets and proceeds that may be connected to the alleged criminal conduct. The office, that is Yoko, also said that where evidence establishes that these assets or proceeds were unlawfully acquitted, it would then pursue measures permitted under the Ghanaian law to preserve, recover, and potentially return such resources to the state. So this means that as it stands now, the investigation is moving beyond identifying these individuals who we want to know, and these individuals, as we rightly want to know, may have been involved to examining the possible financial benefits arising from the alleged bribery scheme. So it's escalating the matter as it stands now.
I see, but the U.S. has already convicted him. How will Yoko go about this?
Well, yes, indeed. The U.S. Has convicted him, and what Yoko will be doing is using the U.S. evidence to support the probe it is doing in Ghana. So it's the U.S. conviction is essentially a supplement to what it's supposed to do, as it intends to escalate the investigations any further. So Yoko said the Attorney General and the Minister of Justice, they have engaged U.S. authorities, and this follows, Bekon's conviction, and they intend to obtain the relevant evidence, the relevant records, every form of information as regards this particular investigation. The Attorney General has also directed Yoko to escalate the investigations, to ensure that the official records are received from the U.S. authorities. Again, the Office of the Special Prosecutor is also on this particular matter. They have also separately disclosed that it provided some investigative and some evidentiary assistance to the U.S. Federal Bureau, and that is the FBI, through some mutual legal assistance framework. And so the U.S. Department of Justice, as it stands now, we are told by Yoko, have also acknowledged the OSP's contribution, to the prosecution. So they are working in tandem. Some form of partnership is taking place to see to the end of the matter.
I'm sure one will ask, what next for Beko?
Well, so yes, in as much as he's been convicted, Beko is awaiting sentencing, and for our listeners who may not know, he is a dual U.S. Ghanaian citizen, and he's most likely going to face a maximum of 30 years in prison, following his conviction, and sentencing is scheduled for November 10. Some few months away, just this year. And so Yoko says, it will withhold any form of operational information it has that could compromise the ongoing, case. But we should expect that on November 10, the sentencing will be done in U.S.
I see. Well, keep an eye on that. But former Power Minister Dr. Kwabena Donkor has denied receiving any money from convicted former Tema Oil Refinery Managing Director Asante Kweku Beko in connection with AXA Energy Power deal. Dr. Donkor, who was Power Minister when the alleged bribery scheme occurred in 2014 and 2015, said he never met Beko and had no involvement in the transactions that led to his conviction in the U.S. In a statement issued through his lawyers, Cavendish Chambers, Dr. Donkor said he had never received money from Beko or any other person in connection with the matter. Caleb, do we you want to fill us in with that statement?
Yes, certainly. So we have a copy of the release from the lawyer of the former Power Minister Kwabena Donkor, and his lawyer is saying, there are some 10 pointers over here. The first being that we act on the instructions of our client, Dr. Kwabena Donkor, whose name has come to be associated with the above matters you've rightly mentioned, which are doing rounds on various social media platforms. So it goes on to explain that their client instructs us in very crystal clear language that he has absolutely no knowledge about the allegations linked to him. He completely and emphatically denies any knowledge of a request or demand for any money as alleged. It goes on to say that our client accepts that he was the relevant minister at the time material. This is a matter of public record. A quick Google search will give you that. Then the statement also says that our client also admits that the state, through his then ministry, the Ministry of Power, negotiated with AXA Energy for the generation of electric power in Ghana during the relevant period. This was at a time when the country was going through the worst phase of what came to be termed as doomsday. The fifth point in this particular statement from his lawyer says that he further instructs us that during the course of this negotiation, a technical team from all the electric power stakeholders in the country were sent to Istanbul, that is in Turkey, to inspect the equipment, which also generates the required electricity in Ghana. This was and is a regular practice of pre-shipment inspection. Point number 6. According to our client, at no point in the course of this negation did he once set eyes on the said Mr. Asante Beko, nor has he since. 7. In very plain language, our client states very strongly and unambiguously that he has never met the said Mr. Asante all his life. B. He has never discussed any personal benefits of any value whatsoever with Mr. Santibeko. C. He never authorized any person to discuss any such matters on his behalf. D. He never received any money in any denomination or personal benefit of any value from Mr. Santibeko. E. Any person or persons who may have made such criminal demand in his name did so for that person's benefit. Point number 8. Our client does not understand that any evidence was led in the US trial which linked him with demanding or receiving any money, cedis or dollars, or anything of value to him personally. Point number 9. He does not accept that evidence that some other person or persons claim that they required money from their principals for the benefit of senior Ghana official or any other title metamorphosed into any evidence of criminality or wrongdoing against him. Point number 10. We are instructed to notify the general public accordingly and to state that any publication or statement of any kind which could be interpreted as contrary to the instructions clearly stated above and which will seek to impugn the reputation and integrity of a client shall result in immediate legal proceedings. So this is a 10-pointer statement from the former Power Minister Kwabena Donko. Must also mention that Yoko is investigating to let us know the individuals who received this bribe. And so these are developing matters. Hopefully we get to the conclusive part as and when they do unfold.
Very well, Caleb, thank you so much for breaking these issues down. So that's my colleague Caleb Ahinakwa giving us the breakdown of what these legal issues are for these two gentlemen. That's the former managing director of Tema Oil Refinery and then also a former Power Minister Dr. Kwabena Donko within the period of 2014 and 2015. We're trying to raise Richard Komado, who is a fraud and crime prevention consultant, on the phone. Unfortunately, we were unable to get into contact with him. But this is what the issue is. So in November 10, we'll see the sentence of the former managing director of Tema Oil Refinery. Of course, we're keeping an eye on this development and bring you every detail you need to know on this development. So, unfortunately, we're unable to get Richard Komado on the phone. That's where we get him. We'll put him on the line. This is 505 here on Class 91.3 FM in Accra, across the country and across the world, on classfmonline.com. In other stories, the criminal trial of former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta is expected to resume on Thursday, August 27, 2026, following a Supreme Court decision upholding the constitutional validity of the Office of the Special Prosecutor Act 2017, Act 959. The Office of the Special Prosecutor announced the date in a Facebook post on Monday, that's today, August 10, signaling the resumption of proceedings in corruption-related cases that had been placed on hold since April this year. The Supreme Court's ruling removes a major legal hurdle that had raised questions about the OSP's authority to investigate and prosecute corruption-related offences without prior authorization. Proceedings in the cases were suspended after an earlier High Court decision questioned aspects of the OSC's prosecutorial mandate, with the Supreme Court affirming the constitutional validity of the Act 959. OSC is expected to proceed with the affected cases. Let me go on the phone line and speak with lawyer Kweku Pentel on the Ken Ofori-Atta case. Counsel, I'm grateful for your time on 505. Good evening to you. I've lost lawyer on the line. We'll try to put him back on the line and get his perspective into what he makes of this particular trial by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. So, like I mentioned, with the case. Counsel, good evening to you. Grateful for your time on 505, sir. Hello, lawyer. Can you hear me?
Class 91.3 FM.
Okay, so I'm unable to hear or speak with lawyer Kweku Pentel, who is a private legal practitioner on this particular case. We'll move on to some other stories here on 505 on Class 91.3 FM in Accra, across the country and across the world on classfmonline.com. Well, the MPP has argued that the bill was rushed, talking about the cocoa bill was rushed through Parliament without adequate consultation with cocoa farmers, landowners, and other key stakeholders in the cocoa sector. The party's ranking member on Parliament's Agriculture Committee, Dr. Isaac Yao, Opoku says provisions in the bill, including changes to Cocoa Board's governance structure, the establishment of the tribunal, and the creation of new offences requires further scrutiny and stakeholder engagement. But the Cocoa Board has defended the legislation, arguing that the proposed law will strengthen the institution, improve the management of the cocoa sector, and ultimately benefit cocoa farmers. Let me bring you the chronology of events, and so you listen to the party's ranking member on Parliament's Agriculture Committee, Dr. Nana Opoku, who spoke during a press conference yesterday.
The new Patriotic Party respectfully makes the following demands. 1. We urge His Excellency the President to withdraw assent to the Ghana Cocoa Bill 2026 and return same to Parliament for broader stakeholder consultation. We also ask Parliament to remove or substantially narrow the ministerial exception in Clause 4B so that any expansion of Cocoa Board's mandate requires an enactment. We also ask Parliament to clarify on the face of the bill that external marketing of cocoa remains vested in the Cocoa Marketing Company or state expressly the government's intention regarding Clause 59(1)(e). We also ask Parliament to amend Clause 81 to exempt removals carried out in accordance with Cocoa Board's published agronomic guidelines and confine the prior approval requirements to conversions of cocoa farms to non-cocoa use. We also ask Parliament to defer the commencement of Clause 85(2) until registration under the cocoa management system is certified by Parliament as substantially complete and provide a free farmer-initiated registration routine.
So that's Dr. Isaac Ayu there, who is the Parliament, who speaks for the Agriculture, ranking member on Parliament's Agriculture Committee, and of course on the ranking of the party as well, speaking yesterday during a press conference there. We're trying to speak with the public relations officer for Cocoa Board, that's Jerome. Unfortunately, we were unable to get him on the line as well. This is 505 on Class 91.3 FM in Accra, across the country and across the world on classfmonline.com. Well, sometimes the big moments start with small things: a call to a loved one, a Momo transaction to support family, a bundle to grow your business. But what if they could lead to something bigger than you ever imagined? With MTN at 30 promo, every call, every text, every browse, every Momo transaction, every connection to home fiber, and every activity on my MTN app earns you more points towards amazing rewards, including 9 brand new Toyota Land Cruiser Prados, over 10 million Ghana cedis in cash prizes, and unforgettable experiences just for you, because every move counts. Dial *530# or use my MTN app to participate now, and let's stay connected everywhere you go. MTN at 30 promo, make every move count. Terms and conditions applied. A reputable company is looking for a security guard. A minimum that's a requirement: minimum of a senior high school certificate or equivalent. Previous experience in a similar role is an added advantage. Honest, discipline, alerts, and physically fit. Good communication and interpersonal skills. Applicants must reside around Laboni, Cantonment, Osu, or nearby communities. Interested candidates should send their CVs via WhatsApp and call 053-446-7842, 053-446-7842. Only shortlisted applicants would be contacted. This is 505. You're on Class 91.3 FM in Accra, across the country and across the world on Class FM online.com. Now to some other stories. Let me take you to education, because the Pre-Tertiary Teachers Association of Ghana has given government a 2-week ultimatum to implement the 20% deprived area allowance for teachers, or face a series of industrial action. Pre-TAG had earlier threatened industrial action at the end of July over the outstanding demands, but suspended the action following interventions by the Ghana Education Service and the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. However, speaking to the media on the sidelines of Pre-TAG's National Executive Council meeting in Koforidua today, August 10, the national president of the association, Ken Ali Ahudu, urged government to address the concerns by the end of August to avert industrial action. He called on President Mahama to ensure the implementation of the promotion of qualified teachers from deputy director to director, and subsequently the director, which says was a campaign promise made by President John Dramani Mahama in 2024.
The Fair Wages and Salaries Commission tells us that they can only give a 10% increment to the digital allowance, which is only 800 Ghana cedis per year. What it means is that 800 Ghana cedis per year. What it means is that they are ready to increase the digital allowance by 80 cedis per year. And this allowance attracts a tax of 200 Ghana cedis. What it means is that they are actually increasing it by 60 cedis. This 60 cedis is per year. So if you divide it by 12, government is actually giving the teacher 5 Ghana cedis per month. This, we think that it's not fair to the Ghanaian teacher. And we are calling on government, we are calling the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Employment, Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, Ghana Education Service, to sit with us to resolve this matter, to prevent any industrial unrest.
Well, meanwhile, the Ghana Association of University Administrators has warned that it will name and shame members who defy its directive to fully comply with an indefinite strike over disparities in allowances between teaching and non-teaching senior members of the public universities. The strike took effect today, August 10, with the association directing all members to stay away from work until the issues in disputes are satisfactorily resolved. The association says the action is aimed at protesting what it describes as a widened gap in market premium and related allowances between teaching senior members and non-teaching senior members. Secretary of the association at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology chapter said the disparity had become too wide to ignore.
GAWA is on strike simply because there is widening disparity in the market premium offered by government and related allowances. We want to put on record that GAWA is not fighting non-teaching staff, neither is it fighting the university. We are simply seeking welfare of members. If you peg the least teaching staff allowance in relation to the highest non-teaching staff, you will see a disparity of not less than 50% in terms of the allowances. The executives of GAWA have made such efforts. They have written to the Fair Wages and the government, other parties in government, but regrettably we couldn't get any positive response from them. And this matter came up strongly at our recent past conference at Sunya. Obviously, if government is a listening government and obviously listens to our demands in respect of bridging the gap between the disparity between senior members teaching and non-teaching, obviously GAWA will consider coming back on strike. Because as we stated initially, we are not fighting the university, neither are we fighting the teaching staff. Okay. The strike as declared, based on our communique, it's 100%. So it encompasses it encompasses IT staff, accountants, doctors, development office, everybody's on board. So we are not doing it graduated for. We would are going to have a team on the ground to make sure that nobody is working either remotely or physically in the offices.
Now, the Rent Control Department announced new measures to strengthen compliance with Ghana's rent laws, including mandatory rent cards and the registration of landlords, properties and tenancies. The department says effective August 17, 2026, landlords seeking services from Rent Control Department will, where applicable, be required to show evidence that they have issued the and maintained rent cards for their tenants. Under the Rent Act, landlords are qualifying monthly Landlords of qualifying monthly or shorter tenancies are required to issue rent cards within 7 days after tenancy begins. The department is also requiring landlords and property owners to regularize their registration and property and tenancy records by November 30, 2026. It says landlords who fail to comply may have their applications or requests for administrative services deferred or declined until required documentation is submitted and verified. The Rent Control Department has further warned private hostel operators that they will be subject to rent control requirements where law applies beginning 2026-2027 academic year. Hostel operators providing residential accommodation to students under applicable tenancies will be required to issue rent cards and maintain proper records of their students, tenants, accommodation, rents, and tenancy periods. We'll take a quick commercial break. We'll be back shortly.
30 years ago, MTN arrived in Ghana and everything changed. Now, to celebrate 30 years, we are giving back big time. The MTN at 30 promo is here. 9 Toyota Land Cruiser Prados to be won. Over 10 million Ghana cedis in rewards, plus so much more. Connect to your everyday hustle on MTN. Make video calls. Browse the internet for business with family and friends. Connect your home to MTN Fiber. Make that money move on Momo and stay ahead because every move counts. Ghana, let's celebrate 30 years of MTN with the MTN at 30 promo. Use more MTN services, build more points, and win big. Dial *530# or visit the My MTN app for more.
Well, some 28 minutes after 5 here on Class 91.3 FM in Accra, across the country and across the world on classfmonline.com. To some other stories. Pressure is mounting on authorities to act against illegal mining in Atronie as chiefs and residents in the Sunyani municipality of the Bono region staged a peaceful protest over the destruction of the Amoma River and surrounding farmlands. The protest, which disrupted vehicular movement on the Sunyani and Trotroso Road, saw traditional leaders and residents take to the streets to demand urgent intervention to protect the river, which serves as an important source of water for the community and surrounding farming areas. Residents say illegal mining activities are destroying cocoa farms, food crops and forests cover while threatening their livelihoods and access to clean water.
As we all look for the water, it has been destroyed, and it is the cause of this galamsey that has destroyed these water bodies. You see, if you come to this area, the farmers here use this water to sprinkle their vegetables. And we know the number of vegetables that we convey from Atronie to Sunyani municipality. Now they cannot use this water to sprinkle their vegetables anymore. So the people here are suffering, especially some of the farmers. Some of the farmers are suffering because they cannot get good water to watering their crops. So the illegal galamsey that is ongoing in Gine in the Atronie two land is affecting my communities. And some people cannot even get an access water to drink. So we are appealing to the president and we are appealing to the NIMOS commander to come in and drive those who are doing the galamsey in the Gine in the Atronie two land, so that the inhabitants or the communities in this area will get source or good drinking water to drink.
So you heard the traditional authorities speaking there, Nana Agyemah Prempeh, for cautioning the community on that. What government says it is taking steps to strengthen decentralization and ensure local authorities are better equipped to deliver essential services, particularly in environmental health and sanitation. Speaking at the National Dialogue on Decentralization and Responsive Governance, the Vice President, Professor Nana Agyemah Prempeh, says decentralization must remain true to its purpose of strengthening local governance institutions, improving public public service delivery and accelerating development at the local level. She says recent flooding incidents across the country have highlighted the consequences of weakness in waste management, sanitation practices, and the enforcement of environmental standards.
This is an opportunity to reflect on the progress Africa has made towards democratic decentralization and to responsive, accountable, and effective local governance. Today, we renew our resolve to ensure that decentralization remains true to its purpose, which is bringing government closer to the people and bringing progress closer to their doorsteps. Since the adoption of the 1992 Constitution, successive Ghanaian governments have worked steadily to translate the constitutional promise of decentralization into strong institutions and functioning systems that serve our citizens through our metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies. Through the efforts of government institutions, parliament, district assemblies, development partners, traditional authorities, academia, civil society, and countless other stakeholders, we have developed the National Decentralization Policy and Strategic Framework 2026 to 2030, which is a roadmap for the next phase of our reforms.
So that's the Vice President, Professor Nana Agyemah Prempeh. It's time for business. Norindi Raja Crunchy is here.
And in business, the government has exceeded its treasury bill target by 73%, with one-year bill yielding inching up to 13.0%. According to auction results by the Bank of Ghana, most investors once again bought more of the 364-day bill due to its high interest rate. There is more in the following news desk report.
The government got 10.7 billion Ghana cedis of the bids tendered but accepted 9.4 billion Ghana cedis. The 364-day bill was once again the most subscribed bill, with a little over 6.0 billion Ghana cedis of the bids tendered, representing 55.8% of the total bids. The uptake was, however, 5.8 billion Ghana cedis. The 182-day bill received bids of 1.9 billion Ghana cedis. A little above 1.1 billion Ghana cedis was accepted. The 182-day bill received bids of 1.9 billion Ghana cedis. A little above 1.1 billion Ghana cedis was accepted. For the 91-day bill, 6.0 billion Ghana cedis of the bids were tendered. A little above 5.8 billion Ghana cedis of the bids were accepted. Meanwhile, interest rates were mixed on the yields curve. The 91-day bill dropped to 5.62%. The 182-day bill also declined to 7.52%, and the 364-day surged to 12.98%.
And that was a news desk report. Now, the tourism minister, Abla Gomashi, has announced that Ghana recorded 1.3 million international tourist arrival in 2025, generating an estimated $4.34 billion in tourism revenue. The figures represent an increase from the more than 1.2 million international tourist arrival recorded in 2024, reflecting continued growth in Ghana's tourism sector. She said the increase in international arrivals translated into significant economic activity and strengthened the contribution of tourism to the national economy.
International tourist arrivals reached 1,303,962 people in 2025, which is an increase over the 2024 figure of 1,288,804. Domestic tourism grew from 1.68 million visits in 2024 to 1.7 million visits in 2025, representing 7% growth. The total revenue generated from the arrivals in 2025 is $4.34 billion, I beg your pardon. The 10 most visited attractions in Ghana combined to draw 1,377,588 visitors in 2025. This accounted for roughly 77% of all domestic tourism site visits nationwide.
You heard the tourism minister Ablajifa Gomashi. In some international news, Nigerians' foreign exchange demand for oil sector imports surged by 114.91% in 2025, highlighting the country's continued reliance on imported petroleum products and related inputs. This was disclosed in the recent released Central Bank of Nigeria's 2025 annual report and statement of accounts, which shows that foreign exchange utilized for oil sector import rose to 4.86 billion US dollars compared with about 2.26 billion recorded in 2025. And that is all for business. Back to you, Kwame.
Thank you, Norinda Iraja Crunchy, for bringing us a business. Before we go, at work and the day is dragging in lectures, and your brain has already signed out on a move, and traffic is doing its own thing, or you are just waiting for the next meal to save you. Whatever the snack moment, mini me achomo is the answer. Crunchy, that's why you hear Gekra. Crunchy, tasty, Ghana chomo. You can enjoy anytime your day needs a reset. Mini me achomo. Taste the fun. Grab yours now. This advert is FDA approved. Well, due to some challenges, we have to end 505 here. Unfortunately, my name is Kwame Ocher Jr. Pleasure coming your way this evening with 505. We'll do the same time tomorrow. Good evening, good night.
Bringing you the best in television content